I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who's been looking around for crew cabs for me. I think there's a lot of potential out there. I'm having a bit of a trouble getting in contact with the owner. I don't know if he's still alive because his emails keep bouncing back, everything I send him, so I don't know any news yet, so bear with me. Now, when I did my shout out last week, I should have mentioned something really important. You see, Canada has a 15-year rule. It's 15 years to the month before you can bring a car in, and that's why I said once before that we get all the dregs of Europe. It's a crazy rule, and I've been here all these years and I still don't understand it. What they say is that the cars over 15 years old don't have to meet Canadian safety standards, whatever they are. And it's ludicrous really, because it's protectionism for the car market here, used and new. And basically, if I wanted to buy a 2020 Defender, if I had that much money or cents, I couldn't get one from Croatia where they're built. I'd have to buy one from the dealer. Why? Because the ones in Croatia don't meet Canadian safety standards. What's that? A sticker on the door? They're exactly the same. Madness, I know. So everything has to be 15 years old or over. Now, for the United States, over there, it has to be 25 years old or over and unmodified. And that's why you see out all these tricked out 2.5 diesels, you know, with all the cosmetics on. But according to the VIN number, it's the same vehicle. They know, they're kind of smart in the States now. They're wised up to people bringing Pumas in with old 1984 numbers on. They got smart for that. Anyway, so now all vehicles are checked when they come in, especially Defenders, so the vehicle matches exactly the VIN number. And you know, if it says it's a right-hand drive and somebody's converted to the left, it's been modified. So 200 TDIs are out, 300 TDIs are out if they were in older vehicles, even if they comply. I know it's a stupid rule. You know, America, land of the free, not really. Anyway, one other thing, right-hand drives. I'm sorry, I can't do them. I just can't get left-hand drive parts here to love no money. So I have to buy something on the continent or something that's already left-hand drive. I once did a TD5 convert to from right-hand drive to left-hand drive, and that was an absolute nightmare and money pit. I did it in the days when they were still making them, which wasn't too bad. But I ended up buying a brand new wiring harness from Land Rover because you just couldn't flip them over like you can with the 200s, 300s and all the rest of them. You couldn't do that. And of course, there are so many permutations on Land Rovers, on TD5s, for variations in electric windows, heated seats, this, that and the other, central locking, all that type of paraphernalia that's in that centre dash. And the thing is about the TD5 wiring, if you're familiar with the bulkhead, there's two holes at the top where on, you know, basic Defenders, like pre-TD5s, there was a few wires going to your wipers, whatever it was, I don't know, where your speedo cable came out, those little plastic corners. Anyway, I'll see somebody's coming now. I'll let them pass. I might think I'm an idiot talking to myself. So anyway, the wiring harness on the TD5, because it's got all electronics and stuff like this on, and comes to this side and the other, you couldn't swap it over, if you see what I mean. You had to literally cut the harness and extend it. Well, that's a bit of a risk, you know, because it's behind the dash sort of thing, and if anything goes wrong, well, you have to take it all out again. So, and of course, finding dashes and bits and pieces like that, and it gets expensive. It gets really expensive, and there's a lot of the parts for TD5s, for the dash trims and things like this, are obsolete now. So it really needs to be a left-hand drive one. Now, I will keep you posted. I have seen some very interesting things. There was an interesting one out in Hungary that was about the right price, but I can't make a move on anything until I contact the owner. So that's that. Now, why the big deal about left-hand drive? Well, here in Quebec, they outlawed right-hand drive cars to be driven on the road. Now I can drive my Series 1 quite comfortably. Now we've got some bloody squirrels and birds kicking about. Bloody country life, eh? So they outlawed left-hand drives. Now my Series 1 was made, I think they've got a law that's pre-73, or if it was already licensed, right-hand drive before they came out with this ludicrous law. They came out with a law for the simple reason they wanted to stop Japanese imports muscling in on the used car market. Now, you guys in the car trade who know that there's a lot of Japanese cars come on the market because their inspections are so strict, they're getting rid of perfectly good cars. So there were some of them were getting to Vancouver and making their way to Quebec, and these hot hatchbacks. There he goes again. Look. So it's a dead end straight here. I don't know why the bother coming. So they wanted to put an end to that, and also coupled with the fact. Now I don't know if this story is true, but it's a good one. One of the Quebec transport ministers, she went to England on a trip, and she hired a right-hand drive car. No problem. And then she went to France with it. Well, she was all over the road apparently. She thought it was dangerous, so there was put into a motion of preventing right-hand drive cars being on the road. That doesn't mean you can't import them, but you can't put them on the road. So when you take them for inspection, you cannot pass them because they're right-hand drive. Crazy, eh? I mean, we've been driving right-hand drives here for ages and ages. Anyway, when they brought that law out, they had to have a very quick rethink, because the garbage trucks, some of them are right-hand drive, and some of the city trucks are right-hand drive, you know, for doing the cleaning the streets and stuff like that. So then they had to say, well, if it is this, that, and the other, they made some exceptions. Yeah, so that makes life a little bit more complicated. Yeah, so I just wanted to tell you about that. And also, vehicles have to be clean, really clean here. There's a bit of a scam at the docks, and it's yeah, it's sort of like mafia type thing. That I don't want to say too much about it because I don't want to get my house burnt down, but cars get pulled in, like especially Land Rovers, then wanting to clean them, make sure there's no mud on them. This one behind me, my 130, they stuck me for $5,000 for cleaning. It was in a container, so then they had to take the container to a safe spot, and then they had to strip everything out of the container, and I mean everything. This was at the front door. Oh no, they pulled everything out, cleaned everything, contaminations. Man, that cost me an arm and a leg. That's why I didn't sell it. I kept it because there was no money in it. So, you know, if you're ever thinking about selling anything over here, this is Canada, not so much Quebec, but by God, they're strict. I had one car once, and it was steam cleaned and painted and all this, that and the other, and then they went round with cotton wool buds inside the chassis. Well, they said, we've found some dirt there, and I said, how the hell are you supposed to get that out? Anyway, so that's what you're up against here. So they have some. I can understand it protecting agriculture and things like this, but they do go a little bit too far. What I'm saying is, why can't they just fumigate the containers like they used to do in mad cow disease? They used to put a little smoke bomb type thing in it and disinfect the container. But oh no, they've got to power wash them and do this, that and the other. It's not as bad as Australia. Australia's really, really bad. I was chatting to a guy who imported earth moving equipment to Australia, and he sent a truck from a big one, you know, a big loader from States to Australia, and he'd already had it washed. The Australian said that wasn't good enough. So what they did was they washed it, and they made him fly across to Australia, pick up the dirt, and then fly back with it. Have you ever heard anything so ridiculous? But I could understand it. Here they're supposed to incinerate the dirt, but they don't really. They just wash it into landfill. Crazy, it's a waste of time really, but that's what you get. So that was just a little bit of an update. I wanted to keep you posted on that. I'm actually flat out at the moment. It's Saturday afternoon. I'm trying to get the US NAS spec up and running, because very shortly the borders will be open, and that means I can get rid of the bloody thing. So I took it for a test drive today, and the speedo cable snapped. So that's another thing I've got to find. I thought I had one on the shelf and I haven't. And also this, well, you can't see it, believe me, it's over there. There's a Sankey trailer to go with it, and I've just been rattling up a an adapter hitch, you know, my favourite adapters, to take the NATO Pintle for this truck, you know, so things you have to do, eh? But yeah, we're getting on. You know, jobs are getting on. I'm waiting for parts for this gearbox. I'll put the video up for the gearbox tonight. I completely forgot. And that's it. I was going to have a ramble about inspections, but I think this has rambled on for long enough. But I'll tell you one day about my trials and tribulations at Quebec inspection and in Canadian inspection, because it is a bit ludicrous. But anyway, I just want to keep you posted. Thank you if you do find some left-hand drive ones. And you know, it's encouraged me with you guys to find some nice cars, and especially in Spain at a reasonable price, which is why I held on for not buying that Spanish 130 that's here in Quebec. I could buy 3 for that price. Bear that in mind. Because you see, is anybody watching? I'm very tempted here to buy damaged Defenders in Spain, or Germany or wherever, left-hand drive ones that have got no rust on them, but you know, beaten up, you know, agricultural trucks or something like that. I don't really want them to put them on the road, but for parts, because we are so desperate for parts here. It's really untrue. I mean, if you bring a car in Quebec is worth more in parts than it is whole. Honestly, if it's got a good chassis, like a galvanised chassis, that would be brilliant. But bulkheads and things like this, you just cannot get hold of them. You know, so might be worth thinking about. I don't know. We'll see. But it is a lot of work, you know, searching for cars and trying to get it organised into a port and put them into containers, and especially sort of damaged stuff. I mean, not totally write-offs. I mean something that's a bit scruffy and a bit untidy. You know, nothing pristine or anything like that. Anyway, I'm sick of this ramble now because I've got to get back to me welding. I'll show you it later. See you in a bit.